What's up, you all? How you all doing this evening? Welcome back. You heard what I said. I don't know, man. What I notice is if there's anybody on here complaining and crying, it's a black man. And that's pretty much par for the course. Today's show title is Dear White People. And when I say dear white people, I'm not talking about libtards and I'm talking about the actual good white people. I'm not talking about the left, the liberals, the Democrats, the heathens, the scoundrels. I'm talking about good white people. So dear white people, I need you all to not give up. I know you have all these odds stacked against you, but I'm asking you and imploring you all to not give up. You all been fighting vigorously over the last almost 4 years, and I appreciate it. But you can't give up now, because now we need you all to fight more than ever. We know that there won't be any kind of efforts to fight from the Hispanic community, nor the immigrants. They'll be fighting against us, nor the Asians, and definitely it won't be any black folks aiding in this fight. So you all are our last hope. When I say white people again, I'm talking to the real white people, the actual blue-blooded Americans, not the fake white people, the actual real white people. Not the white people that say that they could possibly be racist. Dear white people, if you tell these people that you're racist, like when you get and talk in front of people and say you might be racist, they're going to document that, and they're going to never let you live that down. So it's best you be on record all the time saying that you're not racist. If you say you're racist, or you might be racist, or used to be racist, they're going to condemn you for it. So don't do it. I don't care if you just got, I don't care if you just got done saying the N-word. If they ask you if you're racist, say no. I'm just telling you all. They're going to document that and hold it against you. They're going to use that as a means to persecute you. I'm telling you. I don't care if you have a slave in the basement. If they ask you, are you racist? Say no. I'm just telling you all. Don't do it. But listen, you all, I'm glad y'all came in. What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? So today's show, again, is called Dear White People. And I'm excited about today's show. And again, dear white people, if you think that black folks want equality and want inclusion and want diversity, you're crazy. They want you all to be enslaved. And most of the time, they want you all dead. I'm just telling you all. So all of this, don't listen to them. I know it's hard because black folks have perfected whining and crying and looking pitiful. Don't fall for it. Ice cold. Don't fall for it. Because the end result of all of them, their crying and complaining, is the death of America, and eventually a one world government, and eventually chaos and destruction. So I'm just telling y'all. Don't bow down. You all serve one master, and that is God. Do not let these black people, these people of colors, these LGBTQs, do not let these people trick y'all. Ain't nothing happened to them. Ain't nothing happening to them. It's all a game to get you all to give up your guns, first of all, and then give your will to fight. Don't do it. But let's continue. Let's continue. Okay, I had it. Where is it?
At open borders plan to entrench single-party rule, explained in under 2 minutes. 1. Flood the country with untold millions of illegals by land, sea, and air from all over the world, enough to eclipse the populations of 36 individual U.S. states so far. 2. Prioritize the needs of these millions of non-citizens over the needs of the American citizen, with free flights, buses, hotels, meals, and phones, ensuring their loyalty to the political party that imported them. 3. Keep them in the country at all costs, even when they commit violent crime like murder and rape. Attack the language used to describe the criminals, as opposed to the criminals themselves. Slander critics as racist. 4. Ensure their privileges are made irrevocable with city and state sanctuary laws that act as population magnets. Codify permanent status and ensure non-cooperation with ICE. 5. Count the non-citizens in the census that will determine congressional apportionment in the House of Representatives. As of now, that would equal 13 extra congressional districts, a tremendous amount of electoral power. 6. Wage a massive, heavily funded lawfare campaign to change state voting laws that legalize mass mail-in ballots, no signature verification, and no proof of citizenship requirements, making it nearly impossible to prove voter fraud. 7. Lock in the permanent voting majority with campaign promises of lavish benefits and permanent privileges, enshrining generational fealty to the Democrat Party. 8. Win elections. 9. Entrenched single-party.
So it stopped at 9. I wish I could have got all of these points, but I'm going to go through them real quick. And so basically, I talk often about the anti-white agenda. The anti-white agenda, again, is the anti-God agenda, because white people are going to stand up against what's going on. It's just that simple. This is why the Jews have targeted white people this whole time, because they know that white folks are going to fight. I remember hearing a lady at the European Union. She spoke last year or 2 years ago, and she said they had 150 million Europeans that did not get the shot. Think about this now. 150 million Europeans said no to the shots. That means all over Europe, 150 million, mostly white people, said no to the shots. So you can understand the magnitude of how great a threat white people are to their plans. Again, white people will defend their family and their country, and most of them will do it under God's authority. And so that's why white people have been a target this entire time. That's why they made Jesus white. That all they did was demonize white through propaganda. And so now when you see all these evil things happening, you all will accept it because you'll believe that it's payback for what white folks have done, not realizing white folks ain't did nothing but leave y'all alone. Even when white folks left your communities, you begged them to come back. Remember we watched that on Cutting Through the Culture, where when white folks left the communities crumbled and black folks got mad and said, don't leave. So even when white people give you what you want, you still say no. So again, this is not about diversity, equity, or inclusion. It's not. It's not about fairness. It's not about civil rights. It's not about none of that stuff. It's not about civil rights. It's not about any of this nonsense. It is all about white people not fighting for what they believe in, and that is God, family, and country. That is the whole thing. It's not deep. It ain't rocket science. It is just this what it is. Y'all aren't going to fight. I'm talking to the people out there in the world, all the black people, the Hispanics, the Asians, the immigrants, the whoever. Y'all are not going to fight. And that was proven over these past 3 years. So don't try to come at me talking about you're going to do that. No. The number one threat is who they said it was. The number one threat is the evangelical Christian white male. And that evangelical Christian white male has a wife and children, means he has a family, and he probably has a community. That's their greatest threat. So their goal is to demonize white to the point where all of you all will condone atrocities happening to them. You all. You're already doing it. Like you're already doing it. But let's go through this again.
The Democrat open borders plan to entrench single-party rule, explained in under 2 minutes.
So notice he said single-party rule. So if you think about it, even with the border being open, even if you try to fix the situation, okay, let's say Trump gets in office and he wants to start a mass deportation project. How can you do that without infringing upon the rights of the American citizens? It's impossible, because you have to do so, like, think about the manpower and work to get people that don't belong here out of the, it's going to take a lot. You're going to overstep some boundaries, because you got to survey to see who's who and who's what. Tapping phones, it's too much. So to me, the damage is done. To me, there should not be any plans of mass deportation. We just got to pick them out as they pop their head up. All this trying to round them up is going to infringe upon our rights. So again, this whole global migration plan, this plan of no borders, has been put in place centuries ago. They don't want any borders for a reason, because they want white people surrounded by all the people of the world. I'm just telling you what they want. For much of history, white folks have been able to fortify themselves from the rest of the world. White folks have been able to keep themselves away from the rest of the world, destroying what they created. That is no longer the case now, because now these powers that be, think about it, Israel is funding people to migrate into America and other countries. Why would Israel be funding that? Why is Israel funding people coming into America illegally? Why is China giving these immigrants maps? Like, why is this stuff going on? I'll tell you why. Because the goal is to destroy whiteness, because of what whiteness represents. And I know it sounds crazy. I know you want to be mad at white folks. I know you want to get your get back and get your lick back and all this stuff. But just think for a second. Have white people really done you wrong in your life? Honestly. Have white people, think about it. Has the average white person ever bothered you? No. You got a bunch of people on TV telling you they're bothering you, a bunch of folks in movies, but have white folks actually bothered you? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Most white folks I just see in passing speak to me. White folks don't bother me. So I'm trying to figure out, how are they bothering you all? You must be doing something. You must be doing something. And that's right. Anybody that would sneak into the country illegally will also sneak into your house. Because think about it, America has legal points of entry. These people can come here legally, so they're choosing to come here legally. So the fact that they're choosing to come here illegally shows their character. So I don't trust anybody sneaking in. I just don't. They're not trustworthy. All the other countries won't let you all sneak in their country. Think about that. The other countries know if folks sneak in here, it's only a matter of time before we get conquered. So they say no. So how is that America doesn't have that mindset? Let's continue.
1. Flood the country with untold millions of illegals by land, sea, and air from all over the world.
Now, we already know that these people are putting these folks on planes, putting these folks on boats, giving these folks maps. We already know this is going on. And the only reason why the majority of people accept it is because they feel like white people have done so much wrong. I'm telling you right now, dear white people, Caucasian, European, whatever you want to be called, do not feel guilty for something that happened centuries ago. Do not take that burden on. God said, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So any person trying to accuse you of something is Satan. Satan is the accuser of his brethren. So anybody trying to accuse you of being racist is the devil. Do not feel guilty for what some other folks did that was legal. Africans participated in the slave trade. Native Americans participated in slavery. The Jews participated in slavery. Black folks participated in slavery. Everybody participated in slavery. So don't make these people make you all feel bad about something the entire world participated in. From the Portuguese to the Dutch to the French to the English, everybody participated. But they're only blaming you all. That's how you know it's Satan. That's how you know it's Satan. And to top it all off, there's more slaves in the world today than there were back then. And to top it off even some more, there's more slaves in the places with people of color. There ain't no slaves in the white nations. There ain't no slaves in the white nations. There's slaves in Africa, Middle East, China, etc. They're slaves, literal slaves. I ain't talking about underground sex trafficking, human trafficking. I'm talking about slaves. Thank you, Rena Bina. I appreciate it. Let's continue.
Enough to eclipse the populations of 36 individual U.S. states so far.
They said eclipse the population of 36 U.S. states. Now, think about it. If Illinois was Texas, there wouldn't be no border crisis. If New York was Texas, there wouldn't be no border crisis. There's only a border crisis because Texas is red. So again, all of this is strategic and it's all planned. They want to get rid of whiteness because of what it represents. And it's just that simple. There's a global plan, a global agenda. They don't care about your race. They don't care about none of that stuff. They don't care about your black power and all. They don't care about that stuff. They want a global citizen. They want your brain chipped up. They want your body filled with mRNA. They want you just a slave to big pharma. They want you a slave to the system, a slave to big tech, a slave to the government. The unholy trinity, unholy alliance of big pharma, big tech, and big government.
2. Prioritize the needs of these millions of non-citizens over the needs of the American citizen, with free flights, buses, hotels, meals, and phones, ensuring their loyalty to the political party that imported them. 3. Keep them in the country at all costs, even when they commit violent crime like murder and rape. Attack the language used to describe the criminals, as opposed to the criminals themselves.
And it's a very clever game. I think Bane had a quote that was very good in Batman. He said, no, not that one. He says, theatricality. Here we go. Hey, that's what he says. Theatricality and deception are powerful agents to the uninitiated. But we are initiated, aren't we, Bruce? Members of the League of Shadows. That is a very powerful quote, even though it came from a film. Theatricality and deception are powerful agents to the uninitiated. The uninitiated are the majority of people in the world that can't see the forest through the trees. And so most people are going to get caught up with the theatrics and the deception. Most people are just lazy intellectually. Most folks, but really honestly, most people they just don't want to face the truth because it means they got to change something. If what I'm saying is true, you're not going to have as much fun anymore. If I'm telling you that somebody is planning on taking your life and your family's life, you're not going to be able to have fun anymore. So again, most people avoid what I'm saying because it means the party's over. That's all. It's the party's going to be over. The average black person I talk to rejects what I'm saying. But they're the ones that are the most gullible and have the most cultural influence. So imagine a group of people that got all the influence, but they ain't got no brains. They ain't got no character. Dealing with a powerful weapon now. Let's continue.
Slander critics as racist. 4. Ensure their privileges are made irrevocable with city and state sanctuary laws that act as population magnets. Codify permanent status and ensure non-cooperation with ICE. 5. Count the non-citizens in the census that will determine congressional apportionment in the House of Representatives. As of now, that would equal 13 extra congressional districts, a tremendous amount of electoral power.
So again, what you see is that these people aren't just coming, as black folks have said, to replace the black vote. And this is a problem with black folks. The black folks suffer from narcissism and pride. And, we have the 5 spirits of blackness, which are the spirit of pride, the spirit of entitlement, the spirit of oppression, the spirit of envy and jealousy, and the spirit of offense. These are the 5 spirits of black people. So black people believe that this is all being done to get rid of the black vote, and it's actually not. What they're doing is they're bringing these folks in for political reasons, to be in political seats of power. That's what they're trying to do. Forget the votes. They want these folks in the House and the Senate and all this, woke virtue. The first illegal to be in the Senate, all this kind of crazy stuff. The first illegal to run for mayor, like all that crazy. That's what they want. Forget the votes. And honestly, I watched a video today. I might play it. But honestly, when it comes to the black vote, all they have to do is account for the black men that are pretty much going to defect. And at most, that would be 20%. I don't think it's that high, but let's say it's 20%. They only have to make up for 20% of the black vote. Like, it ain't hard to make up for that small amount compared to who they got coming over here. They got to make it for the whole black vote. Most black folks are going to vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris or Big Mike, whoever they put in there. Most black folks are going to vote for them. So what we're talking about is them just making up the few black men that aren't going to vote Democrat. Thank you, Tiana. House seats and electoral votes. Exactly. So again, they're playing chess, not checkers. But all the while, they have us distracted with racism and just foolishness. But let's continue.
6. Wage a massive, heavily funded lawfare campaign to change state voting laws that legalize mass mail-in ballots, no signature verification, and no proof of citizenship requirements.
So to answer your question, Jay Black, no signature requirements, no proof of residency, nothing. So it's easy to vote them in. And they proved that in 2020. Excuse me. It's not hard. It's not hard voting them in. Same way they print money, they're gonna print the votes. Hold on one second, y'all. I'm sorry. So again, this is a very detailed political strategy that will be used all over the world. What they're doing here will be used all over the world. So I'm beeping outside. I don't know what that is. Let's continue.
Making it nearly impossible to prove voter fraud. 7. Lock in the permanent voting majority with campaign promises of lavish benefits and permanent privileges, enshrining generational fealty to the Democrat Party. 8. Win elections. 9. Entrenched single party.
So again, and the goal is one party. And so once you see one party, and we're actually almost there, you know communism is right around the corner. Once you see one party, it's over. Once you don't see any parity in politics, it's over. And it's almost there. Like with the media is so trash because it's one-sided. Hollywood is trash because it's one-sided. Like everything that's one-sided is trash. And we can see that. Yes, and a spirit of idolatry, definitely. But let's continue. See, I have somebody over here, and he said they're gonna bulldoze through your house. Again, black people live in a fantasy world. That's why, honestly, and I'm gonna tell everybody, it's best to not listen to black people. I know this sounds bad, but you can't name a time when black folks have been right. Now, there have been individuals that have been right, but we're talking about the collective body of black people. You can't listen to them because they're gonna get you killed. They don't know enough, and what they do know is propaganda. So you think if they get on TV and say go to the FEMA camp, you think black folks ain't going? They're gonna be the first one to go. All they got to do is say, come to the FEMA camp and get your $1,000 stimulus check. It's over. Come on. Come on. Yeah, we got to get right with God. Now, please excuse the cursing in this next clip, but I just want to play it real quick. Please excuse the curse.
I used to think black people was just fucking dumb. I used to think we was just fucking that dumb. But I realized we're not that dumb. We're just unaware and we're stuck in our ways. I was talking to this black lady this morning and she was talking so bad about Trump. I said, well, what did Trump do that was racist? She couldn't explain it. And then this old ass black lady said, well, Joe Biden and was talking to Glorilla. I said, how you know who Glorilla is? She said, I know who Glorilla is. Then she said, Joe Biden was talking to Glorilla and Kamala Harris was talking to Fat Joe. And I said, damn, I thought we was unaware. This old bitch know that Joe Biden talking to Glorilla and Kamala Harris talking to Fat Joe. I said, this old bitch just that fucking dumb. This bitch in her 70s and don't see that them talking to rappers is pandering to us like we children. They think this bitch is still a minor. This bitch 70 years old. And she think that Joe Biden talking to Glorilla and Kamala Harris and talking to Fat Joe is a good thing. Bitch! Bitch, you 70 with gray hair and your fucking neck hanging and you still that fucking stupid. Lord have mercy.
So, again, I wouldn't have said it like him, but I understand what he's saying. He's basically saying is when it comes to black people, the age don't matter. She's 70 years old and still. So, again, you can't listen to black people. I'm sorry. You can't. I don't care if they, you remember in the book of Eli, there's a scene where he's on the road walking and it's a young lady and she's chained and she's like, help me, help me. But he knows that it's a trap because he knows that a woman wouldn't be out there saying help. Like he knows it's a trap. And again, even in the movie Book of Eli, everybody was they were dumb. The society had been so dumbed down. There wasn't any nuance. It was just kill or be killed. And so even the traps they had set up were dumb. And so in the movie Eli, he sees the girl on the ground asking for help. He's like, it's a setup. So he knows the guys are somewhere around looking and coming. And so it's the same thing with black people. You're going to see black people chained up on the side of the road talking about help me, help me. You're going to see black people saying they're coming to get us. You're going to see all kind of things. Do not listen to them. Do not listen to black people. I'm telling you now, because they're going to get you killed. Because their goal is not to be on the right side with God. Their goal is to watch white people suffer. That is not what you want to be around. That is not what you want to be around. So my advice to everybody, not just white people, even other black folks, don't listen to black people. Woman 70 years old talking about Glorilla. 70 talking about Glorilla. She look like a gorilla.
Suspects, including a 17-year-old, two 18-year-olds, and a 19-year-old, have all been charged with opening fire at a bus stop in Philadelphia last weekend and shooting 8 high school students, including one who was hit 9 times. All 4 of these guys are black, by the way, which frankly should not amount to a hill of beans, because evil is evil and that should be that, except for the fact that this story did not make the national news. Gunmen opened fire on a bus stop and hit more than half a dozen high school students, and it didn't make a ripple on CNN or MSNBC. Why? Because you know, if this had been a white guy with an AR-15, we'd be hearing nothing but the evils of whiteness, how white men are menaces to society, and how we need to ban all AR-15s. This is how public perception gets so skewed. When Karine Jean-Pierre stands up there at the White House podium and rambles on about how there have been more mass shootings than days so far this year, but she doesn't point out that most of these are committed by minorities and are often gang-related, it creates the illusion that at least once a day, some crazy dude is going into a Walmart and lighting it up with a long rifle, which isn't true. But the media doesn't report the truth about the real epidemic of mass shootings in this country. Why? Because it doesn't fit the preferred narrative. The narrative that all black people are inherently victims. The narrative that the greatest threat to minority communities and the nation at large is white supremacy. The narrative that if we could just do away with all of the sporting rifles, there would be peace on earth. So they bury these stories.
So again, what she's talking about is the anti-white narrative. So they get on the podium and they say, we have so many mass shootings, but they know they've already programmed you to associate with mass shooting with white, even though black men, 6% of the population, 6% of the population accounts for over 50% of the homicides. And they talk about proximity. All you hear is proximity, but you never hear context. They never give you context because context removes emotion. I'm going to say it again. context removes emotion. So they get on the podium and they say mass shootings, but they don't tell you who's actually doing it. They let you all run off on your own in your mind. Matter of fact, there's a coworker of mine right now. He came to me. He was like, hey, man, Trump said bloodbath. Man, can you believe it? I'm like, okay, in what context? Man, the context don't matter, bruh. Trump said bloodbath, man. What's wrong with him? I was like, but what? I said, in what context did he say bloodbath then? Man, it's like January the 6th. I said, okay, what context did he say bloodbath? Man, I think it's with the immigrants. He don't even know. I said, well, if he said it with immigrants, I mean, there's going to be a problem if they keep leaving the borders open. I mean, there's going to be some fallout. You can't have all these cultures being forced to mesh with American culture. Like, it's going to be a problem. Yeah, bro, you and I know that, but he can't say it, man. Then he said, man, honestly, this whole border thing is Trump's fault. Trump got this border thing started. That's what he said. I said, now hold on now. I said, y'all called Trump racist for wanting to build a wall. Y'all said the wall was racist. I said, now you're saying he wants them to come in? I said, which one is it? I said, it can't be both. And he had a look on his face because I had to remind him of what he probably had said a couple years before. And he had a look on his face. Have you ever like, you ever seen a dog that gets kicked by a mule and the dog's jaw be hanging? You ever seen a dog or animal get kicked by something or hit by something real hard? They got a look on their face, they just stuck. He looked like a broke mouth dog or a broke mouth mule with just looking, just mouth hanging. Like he could, it's like his whole circuitry shut down. When I reminded him that Trump wanted to build a wall, his whole circuitry, everything shut, and he just was looking like this. And guess what? He ain't talked to me since. He hasn't talked to me since. That was yesterday morning. I see him 30 times a day. He ain't talked to me since. Think about that. All I did was remind him of what he probably said 3 years ago, and it literally shut his computer down. Now, I'm not saying he had some kind of high-power computer with all that RAM and space. I'm not saying that. It could have been a little, he probably had like a little pocket calculator. But whatever it was, when I reminded him, it short-circuited. It shut off. And he ain't talked to me since. Well, this is what I mean by there's no honor in the Black community. Because honor would tell you, if a man tells me the truth, I'm going to respect that man even more for telling me the truth. The fact that I told him the truth, he doesn't want to speak to me anymore, is a reflection of Black culture. And again, Black folks don't want the truth. They don't want the facts. Black folks want to be right. It's going to be a bunch of people that was right, but they're going to be in hell. Anyway, that's how I thought I'd share that story. Plays one more time.
4 suspects, including a 17-year-old, 2 18-year-olds, and a 19-year-old, have all been charged with opening fire at a bus stop in Philadelphia last weekend and shooting 8 high school students, including one who was hit 9 times. All 4 of these guys are Black, by the way, which frankly should not amount to a hill of beans, because evil is evil and that should be that. Except for the fact that this story did not make the national news. Gunmen opened fire on a bus stop and hit more than half a dozen high school students, and it didn't make a ripple on CNN or MSNBC.
Could you imagine if some white people shot some Black high school students? And you know what's crazy? When I talk about no honor, everybody knows this is going on. Everybody, black folks be saying how we're portrayed in the media, but can't give you any examples. The media hides the negative aspects of black culture. There is nowhere you can find black folks being portrayed negatively. Nowhere. Suki Hana and Sexy Red are what black folks want to see. Beyonce, Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj, that's what black folks want to see. These rappers, Drake, NBA Youngboy, Future, all Travis Scott, them, that's what black folks want to see. You can't name anywhere on any platform where black folks are portrayed in a negative light in mainstream media. Nowhere. Not nowhere. So when you hear black folks saying it, it's a lie. When black folks do something wrong, it's hidden from the media. Even when Juicy Smollett was caught dead to rights, they still let him out. Fannie Willis, caught dead to rights. Ain't gonna get in trouble. So we can stop that story because it's not true. We know that if some white people opened fire at a bus stop and shot multiple high school students that were black, all hell would break loose in the country, and y'all know it. But the fact that it's black on black, nobody cares. Not even black people. But then this white woman dare say something, she's racist. They already got y'all programmed. I had somebody tell me that, I'm going to play this guy too, Andrew Gillum out of Florida. This guy said Andrew Gillum was set up. I'm like, well, how could he be set up if he cheated on his wife? How could he be set up if he's faithful to his wife? How could he be set up if he's not LGBTQ? How could he be set up if he wasn't doing drugs? That's three major things: infidelity, homosexuality, and on drugs. They didn't have to get you caught up. You caught yourself up. But this black person had the audacity to say they set him up. I said, set him up with those three things? It's insane. Black people have no honor. And they have no honor because they believe that white people are doing it too. So what you'll find is that black folks don't care that white folks are quote unquote doing wrong. Black folks just want to be able to do it too. That's all. Let's continue.
Why? Because you know, if this had been a white guy with an AR-15, we'd be hearing nothing but the evils of whiteness, how white men are menaces to society, and how we need to ban all AR-15s. This is how public perception gets so skewed. When Karine Jean-Pierre stands up there at the White House podium and rambles on about how there have been more mass shootings than days so far this year, but she doesn't point out that most of these are committed by minorities and are often gang-related, it creates the illusion that at least once a day some crazy dude is going into a Walmart and lighting it up with a long rifle, which isn't true. But the media doesn't report the truth about the real epidemic of mass shootings in this country. Why? Because it doesn't fit the preferred narrative. The narrative that all black people are inherently victims. The narrative that the greatest threat to minority communities and the nation at large is white supremacy. The narrative that if we could just do away with all of the sporting rifles, there would be peace on earth. So they bury these stories.
And so, again, the fact that you can get on TV and say, I'm tired of white people, and nobody say anything, just hear me out for a second. There's a clip on C-SPAN where a guy is calling for the execution of all white people. It's on C-SPAN. Could you imagine if a white person said that? Could you imagine a white person being filmed by C-SPAN, liberal, and they said that's all white? It would be a turning point in American history. The things that black folks can say about white folks in any setting is egregious. And if white folks said the same thing, it's a problem. Again, black folks can dish it, but they can't take it. I'm tired of white folks. Everybody start clapping. Let a white person say, I'm tired of black folks. It'll be Armageddon. And y'all know this is true. And y'all know it's true. So imagine it starts today with just talking, but tomorrow is action. Let's continue.
One of the problems that we have in this nation is that freedom has been used against us, and we need to establish its boundaries. We need to establish our moral code and ethics. And sometimes when we start saying live and let live, and what you do over there doesn't affect me, the other side has an agenda and they take advantage of that. And so they start to exploit those things. And we are seeing that today, where people are actually taking this liberty doctrine and turning it into a lawlessness doctrine. And this lawlessness doctrine actually equates to no morality, nihilism, where anything goes. When you have a society that does not have a strong foundation on what it believes to be right and wrong, then the powers that be will come in and start to apply those definitions because they're going to be necessary.
That was Che from the No Spoon podcast. I'm gonna play it again. One more time.
I think one of the problems that we have in this nation is that freedom has been used against us, and we need to establish its boundaries. We need to establish our moral code and ethics. And sometimes when we start saying live and let live, and what you do over there doesn't affect me, the other side has an agenda and they take advantage of that. And so they start to exploit those things. And we are seeing that today, where people are actually taking this liberty doctrine and turning it into a lawlessness doctrine. And this lawlessness doctrine actually equates to no morality, nihilism, where anything goes. When you have a society that does not have a strong foundation on what it believes to be right and wrong, then the powers that be will come in and start to apply those definitions because they're going to be necessary.
And so, and what he's basically saying is that we have a thing called freedom and liberty, but at some point it can't be freedom and liberty to do anything. And the problem is that because you have two opposing forces, you have good and you have evil. If everybody gets to be free, which they're supposed to be free to choose, the problem is we know that one side has an agenda, like he said. So the left has an agenda. So they're going to use freedom for nefarious reasons. You and I may just use our freedom to live a happy life, serve God, get married, have children, have a family, live a good life. That might be what our freedom is for. But their freedom is to basically spread death, destruction, and damnation. And so, how do we fix that? Where's the balance in that? The only balance that you can have, honestly, is to separate. The reason why there's so many problems is that there's no separation, meaning we all have to live amongst each other. And so their goal is inclusion. They don't want us to separate. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. They don't want us to separate because they already know that white folks will get to a point where they're going to say, okay, y'all guys, we're going to go over here. They don't want that. They don't, because it's going to be a stark contrast between the liberal left society and the good society. It's going to be you're going to look at it. California is going to think about it. They had movies in Hollywood years ago called Escape from New York and Escape from LA. Think about those movies. Those were post-apocalyptic movies in these the two largest liberal cities in the country. Escape from New York, Escape from LA. So again, escape and go where? If you were escaping New York or escaping LA, where are you going to go? You're going to go to a place where folks got some sense. So they don't want white folks to separate. This is why they're trying to force inclusion. This is why they're trying to force we need to be around. This is why MLK when him was like, we need to sit next to y'all in the restaurants. You need to sit next to y'all on the buses. You want to force because you don't want white folks to leave. You don't want them to leave. Think about the tactics. Y'all bum rush a restaurant. 30 of y'all. Any restaurant setting that would be alarming. 30 folks just come in, just stand there looking crazy. Come on, man. So anyway, even those tactics are, so the goal is so that white folks don't create a separate society. And when I mean separate, I mean Florida got their own thing. Texas got their own thing. Tennessee got their own thing. Kentucky, North Carolina, so on and so forth. That's what they do not want. One thing that Marjorie Taylor Greene said that was good, which she said a lot of things is good, but one thing she said was good, she said we need to have a national divorce. And I agree. We need to separate from these people because their goal is death, destruction, and damnation. All you heard black folks talking about was burn it down. You don't want to build nothing. You ain't never heard black folks protest talk about build. You've never seen black people protesting with construction boots on and hard hats. You ain't never seen black people talking about building nothing. They want to destroy, burn it down. Burn it down because white folks made it. Let's continue.
In healthcare means that no white person can be healthier than the sickest non-white person. You might think that because of your exceptional need for a medication, that it's going to continue to be you. But if you're white, you're going to come off that list, or you're going to go down the list. And all of these other groups are going to be served. Why? Because the pharmacist's livelihood, not just the job, depends on it now. This is the anti-white world that's been given to us.
And so basically, imagine a time where you have folks that need medical care. You have a person of color, you got a trans, you got an LGBTQ, you got an immigrant, and you got a white person. So you got POC, LGBTQ, illegal. Now, and a white person. Who do you think is not going to be priority? In this climate we live in today, who do you think is not going to be priority? The white person. Now imagine knowing all of this stuff behind the scenes, but when you cut on the TV or social media, they're telling you it's the opposite. The devil deals with the illusions because he deals with inversion. So just imagine the media is telling everybody the opposite of what's going on. That's how the devil works. Tells you the opposite. So they're telling you that white folks got privilege, but in actuality, what can white folks even say without being called racist? What can white people even say without being called racist? So again, this oppression thing is really being applied to white people. It's really being applied to white people. I've never known a single black person to suffer because of racism. Not a single one. Not a single one.
Has passed the fugitive slave law. And what's that? That's if a slave escapes from the South and goes north, you have to snitch on your neighbor and say that he's hiding slaves in his garage. And if you don't snitch on your neighbor, you've committed a federal crime and you'll be arrested. Here's the fugitive slave law, 1854, runaway slave Joshua Glover, and he's in Wisconsin trying to make his way to Canada. He's caught and he's put in jail, and they're going to ship him back down south. And then the Sauk County Standard wrote in 1854, an estimated 5,000 white Wisconsin citizens stormed the jail on Saturday, March 18th, 1854, and freed the black man, Joshua Glover. And 2 days later, these same white Republicans in Wisconsin go to Ripon and they form an anti-slavery political party called the Republican Party.
I'm going to play this one more time for the people in the back. And I'm going to tell you all that the devil is going to deal with illusion. He is literally going to tell you the opposite. We'll play this again.
Democrats passed the fugitive slave law. And what's that? That's if a slave escapes from the South and goes north, you have to snitch on your neighbor and say that he's hiding slaves in his garage. And if you don't snitch on your neighbor, you've committed a federal crime and you'll be arrested. Here's the fugitive slave law, 1854, runaway slave Joshua Glover, and he's in Wisconsin trying to make his way to Canada. He's caught and he's put in jail, and they're going to ship him back down south. And then the Sauk County Standard wrote in 1854, an estimated 5,000 white Wisconsin citizens stormed the jail on Saturday, March 18th, 1854, and freed the black man, Joshua Glover.
I told you all before that white folks ain't never had a problem with righteous black people. 5,000 white folks got together and said, we got to get Joshua Glover, no relation to Danny Glover. We got to get Joshua Glover out of this jail because it's wrong. Because it's wrong.
And 2 days later, these same white Republicans in Wisconsin go to Ripon and they form an anti-slavery political party called the Republican Party.
So the Republican Party was birthed off of white people freeing the black man from jail. No, there wasn't a party switch. That's a lie. The Republican Party was formed. The Republican Party was formed from a bunch of white folks getting together and saying, let's free the black man. And so this don't happen again. Let's form a party to make sure it doesn't. Now, they've never told you this in school. Why isn't this story in the history books? Now, imagine all these black folks talking about people don't want to have black history in the schools, and they leaving this story out, though. Ain't this black history? Why isn't Joshua Glover a great story to tell? White folks rallied together and got him out of jail, and then formed a party to make sure it didn't happen again. That's a great story to tell, right? That's black history, right? So why is it omitted from the history books? Why I got to go to the library and look at them old scrolls to find this story? Because again, what these people want in the schools is more propaganda. They want to do storytelling. It's story time, kids. I'm going to tell you stories about oppression. I can't prove them. I don't have any facts, no data, no nothing, statistics. But I just want to tell you a story about how bad black folks had it. I remember I listened to an interview of a lady talking about the Tulsa riots. And she said the white man came in the house with guns and everything. And she said she just kept cooking. Wait a minute. She said the white men bust into the house with guns and she just kept cooking. And the white man said, "You're not going to stop cooking?" She said, "No, I got to feed my babies." Now, let me ask y'all a question. What would make this woman not be afraid of some white men busting in her house with guns? What would make her not be afraid? What would make her not run to her children and cover them up? She said, "I kept cooking." She said, then they got mad and they got an axe or hammer or something and they chopped up the piano, but they didn't get the cord of the piano, so the piano still worked. They didn't drag her out. They didn't beat her up. They didn't shoot her. They chopped up the little piano for the children. I said, wait a minute. I was told it was horrific. But from eyewitness accounts, she said, I kept cooking. I don't know. I don't know. Some of y'all saying Big Cap, son of God Sam, said it never happened. That's what I'm going with. It never happened. It never happened. She was like, they were so stupid. They didn't know that the inside of the piano, the core of the piano was on the inside. They didn't even touch none of that. Let's continue.
Trump.
Trump.
I said Trump.
You with Trump?
Yes.
Why is that?
Lied to me.
Ooh, okay.
We're playing this.
That's a
We're
little
playing
much
this
for
in
me.
our podcast.
I don't think we should play any of that.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't think any of. I don't know.
I wouldn't
I
put
didn't know
any
we
of
were.
that bullshit.
I want to play some of it.
When you see that many voices spewing that much incorrectness, I think it may potentially leave people with the opinion that the constituency of that group is larger than what it is. I hear people with.
Now, this is Andrew Gillum, married to a black queen, gets caught in a hotel getting drilled by a white man, literally, doing drugs, getting drilled by a white man, cheating on his black queen, Andrew Gillum. He's on a podcast running his mouth. Could you imagine if I did what he did, I couldn't speak anymore? Think about what I'm telling you. If I did what Andrew Gillum did, black folks would not let me live it down. So how is Andrew Gillum getting a pass? How does he get a pass? I'll tell you. Because he says that white people are racist. Remember what I said, that black folks will condone sin as long as it does something against white people. And Andrew Gillum admitted it. It ain't conspiracy. It ain't propaganda. He got drilled by a white man, but he was cheating on his black queen. And as a man, if you cheat on your wife, you're cheating on your children as well. If you have children, you're cheating on them too. You're cheating on your family. You're cheating on your wife, your children, her in-laws, your in-laws, your friends, and God. You know why? Because you got married. You got married under God with your family there as witnesses and your friends. You cheat on everybody. So Andrew Gillum was able to do the most egregious thing, get drilled by a white man, literally get drilled. Talking about Hershey Highway like it's the Autobahn. You cheat on his black queen, and black people forgive him because he says that white folks are bad, because he says that Trump is racist. Black people have no honor. That's why you can't listen to them. Over the past 3 years, you have not seen any mobilized effort of black people to go against any of this stuff. Mandates, shots, Great Reset, none of it. The moment when this stuff became real and they told the world, you cannot do this, that, or the third unless you get a shot. The moment where black folks could have proved that what they've been fighting for all along was legit, they complied. That's how I knew none of that stuff was real. That's how I knew the civil rights movement wasn't real. Slavery wasn't real. It wasn't real. Because if it was real, black folks would have been the first ones standing up and fighting. They weren't at all. Same, it's fake. Anyway, Andrew Gillum gets to speak. Andrew Gillum gets to speak.
With those kinds of critiques who didn't arrive at the conclusion that then Donald Trump was going to be the answer. I hear critiques of, I ain't have nothing done in my community since da-da-da-da-da-da. I hear that. They don't draw the logical conclusion that Donald Trump then is going to be the answer, the cure. He ain't that. Bottom line is what we are bottling up here are over 400 years of systematic oppression of a peoples.
This is how Andrew Gillum is able to live down his egregious sins. Because he talks about racism. Now imagine black people calling me a coon, a sellout, and a bootlicker, and Andrew Gillum was cheating on his black queen with a white man. Think about this. Imagine black folks calling me a queen, a bootlicker, coon, and a sellout. And Andrew Gillum is cheating on a black woman with a white man, and they don't say nothing. I'm going to say it one more time. Say it one more time. Yes, he apologized for what he did. But I'm going to remind you all one more time. Black people call me sellout, bootlicker, and coon. Andrew Gillum was cheating on his black wife with a white man. And black folks have never called him sellout, have never called him bootlicker, and have never called him coon. This is what I mean when I say that black people have no honor. There is no honor in the black community. Andrew Gillum only gets to speak because he says that America's racist, because he says that Trump is racist, because he says that white people are racist. Think about this. Think about all his sins being forgiven because he tells black people that they're oppressed. And then when it comes to me, and I'm telling the truth, I'm telling black folks to get their life to Christ, stop falling for propaganda, what they're telling you, they're trying to set you up. I tell black folks those things, and they call me sellout, bootlicker, and coon. This is why you should not listen to black people. You shouldn't do it. Let's continue. Let's continue. Let's continue.
Not be blaming black mayors and black city council members who don't have the tools and the resources at their disposal that the state legislature and the federal government do. We are asking people at the lowest level of the totem pole to solve the biggest problems, and that is a contradiction. And Republicans and conservatives know this. Conservatives control the state legislature of Alabama. Conservatives control the state legislature of Louisiana. Conservatives control the state legislature of Georgia. And each one of those states are failing black people. And when we talk about black people who have gone to the north, we built Detroit. We built St. Louis. We built LA. And that's the.
How many of y'all want to bet he got that snake bite and he's Boost Mobile? How many of y'all willing to bet he got that snake bite and he got that Boost Mobile? Now, this man just said that conservatives control Alabama, Georgia, for all this stuff. These states don't claim to have any problems. Black folks claim to have problems in those states. But when I go to the cities that are ran by black folks, that's where most of the problems are. Nobody's asking black folks to solve any problems in America. That is a lie. Nobody is asking black people to solve any problems in America. That is a bold-faced lie. All the Republicans have done is said, you all are a sanctuary city, be a sanctuary city. Nobody is asking black folks to solve any kind of problems. They sit down and eat chicken with y'all. They got hot sauce in their purse for y'all. They dance for y'all. They wear kente cloth for y'all. They ain't asking black folks to solve no problems. When it comes to black folks, it's a show. When them college students went to go see Kamala Harris, it's Sexy Red and they partying. Ain't nobody asking black folks to solve any problems in America at all. That's a bold-faced lie. And black folks lie. Now, how much you want to bet he got them shots and he got that Boost Mobile too? How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet? Everybody on that screen got them shots. How much you want to bet? Ain't there one of them folks on that screen talked about them mandates. And those mandates are the closest thing to segregation they've ever seen. And they said nothing. They complied. You're gonna be hard pressed trying to find a black man on a platform not crying and complaining and making excuses. Let's continue.
The ingenuity, the brilliance, and the talent of black people that went into those cities for the opportunities that existed to them and the ability to live out a free life without being killed and slaughtered by white folks at the hands of racism in this country. That's why we went there, understanding that there has never been a moment for us to build black political mass to take over state government. The Democrats, the Republicans, the conservatives, none of them want black folks in charge because that's the only way we're gonna really get equity in this country when you have black leadership.
You listen, if black folks are in charge, they can't even implement communism. Here goes the elephant in the room. If black people are in charge, you can't implement any plans, good or bad. Good or bad, you can't implement any plan because black folks will destroy it all. Can you imagine? Think about all your black leaders now. Y'all can pick any one. And imagine them being president. Pick any black person y'all want to right now and imagine them being president. Let me throw out some names for you all. Farrakhan. Could y'all imagine if Farrakhan was in charge? Jesse Jackson, could you imagine? Al Sharpton, could you imagine? Big Mike, could you imagine? We had Obama, record unemployment. Everything for the LGBTQs. Could you crime? Could you imagine a black person that is a so-called black leader today being in charge of this country? Could you imagine a black state? Could you imagine a state, an actual state ran by black people? I would never go there. If I was doing a road trip, I would drive around it. I would add an extra day of travel to drive around that state. I would never go in there. I couldn't imagine. Everything black people have asked for in America, they've gotten. You can't name a single thing that black folks have asked for collectively that they didn't get. And what are reparations? Black folks are not unified on reparations. Everything that black folks have asked for, they've gotten. Black folks wanted to get free, they got it. Black folks wanted to work, they got it. They wanted to integrate, they got it. Like everything black folks asked for, they got it. You can't name one. They want the George Floyd bill passed, they got it. They want affirmative action, they got it. They want open borders, they got it. They wanted welfare, they got it. Everything black folks have asked for, these white folks done gave it to them. And what has been the end result? It's been death, destruction, and damnation. So this guy talking about black people being in charge of a state, that state would crumble. That state would crumble. You can't name any black person now that is a so-called black leader that you trust to be in charge of your state. Just go look at what's going on in all the cities with black mayors. So again, this guy is foolish. Everything black folks have asked for, they've gotten it. Everything. Representation, they got it. So this notion that black folks aren't getting something from America is a lie. It's a bold-faced lie because you can't name one thing black folks ain't got. Black president, right, they got it. Black vice president, you got it. Y'all, black people have gotten everything they've asked for. So think about what black folks are really asking for then. What black folks are asking for is destruction. But let's continue.
How many of you remember when I made this video? When LAPD's first non-citizen police officers were set to graduate from the academy. And I told you that they're going to give them badges and guns. They're going to expedite their citizenship by offering them military service at a faster rate than they normally would people that don't live in this country. And I told you about the dangers of such large numbers joining our military because these people have no loyalty to the Constitution or the people of this country, and they'd be more than willing to do whatever they're told just for citizenship, for the promised land of the United States of America in their eyes. Well, folks, things just got worse. Obama-appointed judge rules illegal immigrants can carry guns inside of the United States. Imagine that. Not only are they giving them badges and guns, letting them join our military, but now the average everyday human being that snuck across our border is now going to be able to carry firearms inside the United States. If you think that everything is going just fine in our country and that by voting in your magical candidate for presidency or any other political office is going to change the trajectory of our country, you're sadly mistaken, and you need to wake up super fast before you and your family are dead. Because they want to take your guns, but give them to everyone but you.
Remember when we saw, and that's a Red Pill Rocky right there. He's also on Telegram as well. He does a lot of survival training. He has all kind of stuff you can buy. That's Red Pill Rocky, though. But again, when they see Red Pill Rocky, they say he's racist, so you don't listen to him. You see, the reason why they say racism, so you don't listen to what he's telling you. What he's telling you is the truth. So they say, don't listen to him. He's racist. Think about this now. Now he's telling you to get prepared. They're going to do A, B, C, and D. Oh, he's racist. Listen to Roland. Now imagine this. They're going to tell you to turn off Red Pill Rocky and listen to Roly Poly Martin. They're going to tell you to cut off Red Pill Rocky and listen to Hershey Highway Gillum. You see what's happening here? Cut off Red Pill Rocky, listen to the celebrities. So the only reason they throw around racism is to get you to not listen to the information that's being presented. That's the only reason. They don't want you to be prepared. They want you to be caught off guard, and they want you to comply. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. They don't want you to prepare. So if you're not prepared, you're going to have to do what they tell you to do. What he just said, 95 to 99% of black folks will reject it. I talk to black folks every day about this stuff, every day, and they ain't feeling it. Black folks care about police brutality. Black folks care about Trump. They don't care about Chinese troops on the ground. They don't care about UN troops. They don't care about armed immigrants. They don't care about that. They care about police brutality. They care about Trump. They care about Glorilla. They care about Sexy Red. Play it again.
How many of you remember when I made this video? When LAPD's first non-citizen police officers were set to graduate from the academy. And I told you that they're going to give them badges and guns. They're going to expedite their citizenship by offering them military service at a faster rate than they normally would people that don't live in this country. And I told you about the dangers of such large numbers joining our military, because these people have no loyalty to the Constitution or the people of this country, and they'd be more than willing to do whatever they're told just for citizenship, for the promised land of the United States of America in their eyes. Well, folks, things just got worse. Obama-appointed judge rules illegal immigrants can carry guns inside of the United States. Imagine that. Not only are they giving them badges and guns, letting them join our military, but now the average everyday human being that snuck across our border is now going to be able to carry firearms inside the United States. If you think that everything is going just fine in our country and that by voting in your magical candidate for presidency or any other political office is going to change the trajectory of our country, you're sadly mistaken, and you need to wake up super fast before you and your family are dead. Because they want to take your guns, but give them to everyone but you.
That's Red Pill Rocky. He's still on Instagram. He's on Instagram and Telegram. He's still on there. But again, they're going to call him racist, so you don't listen to him. And so at this point, what we're seeing now is the maturation process of who needs to grow up and mature. So again, if you can't grow up, you're just gonna die. It's just that simple. You know, ladies, you can't be feminist during these times. You're gonna die. You can't be woke. You're gonna die. So what I'm saying is that your only real options now are God and your family and fight for your country. That's it. Because everything else you're just gonna die. He's gonna die.
I'm not gonna do much talking. I'm gonna let y'all watch the video and see what's going on. But this ruling came down today, and just know you better arm yourself, save yourself. You can't even depend on law enforcement to come and save you. By the time you dial 911, it's too late. you better have your couple pistols, couple rifles, and a whole bunch of ammo. But check out the video.
A judge in Illinois just ruled illegal immigrants have the right to keep and bear arms. So rather than the circle with the line through it, we need like a thumbs up emoji there. The case is pretty simple. Police arrested an illegal immigrant living in Chicago with a gun back in 2020. They charged him for violating the federal law banning illegal immigrants from having guns. It's been on the books for a long time. Judge Sharon Johnson Coleman just decided the Second Amendment applies to him, the illegal immigrant, like everybody else, so he can have a gun. In her decision, she wrote that Humberto Flores received and used the handgun solely for self-protection and protection of property during a time of documented civil unrest in the spring of 2020, the summer of love. Court documents show.
So basically, notice her reason for him using it. The civil unrest was what? Protesting. What was the civil unrest? What was going on? Was it the cops being racist? Again, just understand the goal of all of this. The goal of all of this is for anyone that dares says, I have the right to be free, to be deleted. These folks are not going to play nice. They're not. And I don't, and honestly, I don't have to hold y'all hand through this process. I'm giving y'all the raw facts. Now, once they rule in a case, to rule in favor of that case again, they cite the case in future cases. The reason why she did it is so that her case can be cited when these illegal immigrants is blowing people's heads off. Self-defense, purely for protection. Y'all think it's a game. Y'all think it's a game. It's funny when it's black folks, it's water hoses and sticks and dogs, but when it's white folks, it's just live ammunition. It's funny how when it's black folk, it's a whole bunch of speeches and marches and sit-ins and stuff, but when it's white folk, it's just all out anarchy. Shoot on sight. Ain't that ironic? Black folks supposed to be so oppressed, but when it comes to them, a lot of talking going on, bills getting passed, songs being sung. But when it's white folks, it's just bang, bang. You know why? Because one is fake and one is real. These folks don't play with white folks at all. These folks don't play because they know. I'm just telling white people, and when I say white people, I don't mean white folks with blue hair or pink hair. I'm talking about blue-blooded Americans. I don't want y'all to give up. There are people out here that are willing to fight side by side with you all. Don't give up. And for the love of God, if you've been kowtowing and placating to these folks, stop. You ain't racist. You ain't did nothing wrong.
So Flores fired the gun at moving cars during the BLM riots in Chicago. He argues police officers warned him about looters who were approaching his neighborhood. Key to this ruling is that the judge says Flores' conduct heavily impacted her decision. He had no criminal record and was not considered a risk to public safety. This case is just one of many challenging that federal statute that prevents illegal immigrants from possessing a firearm. There are cases unfolding in states nationwide. Shan Wu is here, former federal prosecutor, turned criminal defense attorney, once a very senior officer at the DOJ. Good to see you. Should I be shocked that an Obama appointee found a gun control law that she didn't like?
No, but I think it's very fascinating that this whole push towards expanding the deference to the Second Amendment in some ways has kind of come full circle here, where something that really seems counterintuitive, the idea that someone who's not here legally still has that right, and you can't use this particular statute, which is commonly known as the felon in possession statute. But the way it's written, she really zeroed in on the language. He's not a felon. And the gray area, of course, is whether or not his status, and frankly, I think the way he was using the gun calls a little bit into question, you know, how peaceful he is.
Now, so again, the language. So her argument is that he's not a felon. Not the fact that he shouldn't even be here. He's not a felon, though. No, he shouldn't even be in the country. But again, this ruling is going to be cited again because they know they can't get these guns from white people. Pay attention. They know these white folks are not going to give their guns up. So how do you combat white people not giving their guns up? I'll tell you. You give the guns to everybody else. There's a cartoon called The Incredibles. And in that first Incredibles, that one guy that was a dweeb in school, you know, just a nerd, and he ended up becoming some mad scientist or some genius, whatever. His goal was to basically make everybody a superhero. And his reason was, he said, if everybody's a superhero, then nobody will be. So your guns won't matter if everybody has guns. It's the logic. It's the logic. So since they can't get the guns from the white folks, the next best thing is just to arm all the decadent people. You arm the illegal immigrants, you arm the trans, et cetera, et cetera. You arm the homeless. You know how it goes. Come on.
No, I mean, I guess the question, though, is what constitutional rights and protections then become absolute, right? Because illegal immigrants are still counted in a census. That is a huge deal in terms of representation. But then where do we get to right to work, or right to vote, or right to have a license to practice medicine, or right to have a license to do all of these other things? Isn't this opening Pandora's box?
It could be. I do think, I hate to say this, but I think Congress would have to be a little bit more powerful here, because there's no question that the Constitution applies to people who are not here legally. They're, quote, persons under the Constitution, so that makes perfect sense. The problem here is you need to draw the statute more narrowly, and you might have to actually specify that being here in a non-legal status would also make you not eligible to carry the firearm.
Interesting.
Now, do you think you can go to another country, sneak in, and have a firearm? Think about this. What country can any of you all go to, sneak in there, get a gun, shoot somebody? What country? So why aren't all the countries with people of color called racist? All the countries, which is most of the world, with people of color, why aren't they called racist for not letting folks sneak in their countries and shoot people? Because all of this is under the guise that white people have guns. This only discussion is because white people have guns. That's it. It ain't no other reason. We got to arm everybody we can to go against white people. Let's continue.
You have to think about what you said of Congress actually doing its job, which they rarely seem to be able to do. Key part of the ruling, Justice Clarence Thomas wrote in the court's majority opinion, we hold that when the Second Amendment's plain text covers an individual's conduct, the Constitution presumptively protects that conduct. Look, you talk to a lot of folks. You're pretty popular in liberal legal circles. Was there a bit of chuckling when people read this? Was it sort of, yeah?
I think so. I mean,
a little more than a bit?
Yeah, it feels like a little bit, chickens coming home to roost. So,
in what sense?
In the sense of it's been associated, not entirely accurately, but it's very much been associated with the conservative court, a conservative movement to really expand the protections of the Second Amendment for gun owners. And here, of course, it kind of comes into conflict with the idea of, we also have to include this big issue with
so you said that the immigrants. Congress might have to do its job, right? Flores was here illegally, therefore he broke a U.S. law by coming and by staying. So this is that the Second Amendment applies without Congress amending the law. So Congress could pass a law tomorrow that says illegal immigrants cannot have weapons, period. Right. And that would fix this situation.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I would agree. You have me in funny positions. I'm agreeing with Clarence Thomas, too. But I think he's exactly right.
It's 2024, odd things happen, don't they?
It's this presumption, the Constitution creates that presumption that whether you're illegally here or not, you have that right as a person here. But if the specific law says you're not allowed to possess it because of your status or a crime you've committed, then that would fix the presumption.
All right. Andrew Roberts, I thought rightly pointed out, he's one of our...
Thank you, Pamela. Thank you, too. Thank you so much. Well, you saying who can enforce this? I think he gave you the enforcement that comes from Congress. He said Congress can pass the bill to say the illegal... Listen, it's simple. Think about this. Everybody should vote yes on illegals not being able to own firearms. But the argument they're going to make is who's going to protect them? If the police are racist and the white folks with guns are racist, who protects the weak old illegal immigrants? Who protects the poor, helpless illegal immigrants? This is the argument, because the argument is going to be white people have guns, conservatives have guns, racists have guns. So who's going to protect the illegal immigrant? There's no way on God's green earth this should even be a debate. Illegals should not be able to have a gun because they shouldn't be here in the first place. They shouldn't be here in the first place.
Star producers that you've got a lot of these cases in different courts, so it probably ends up at the Supreme Court at one point or another. But oftentimes these district judge rulings and everything else play into other cases. And if you, as the left is sort of chuckling and saying, hey, this serves Second Amendment activists right, they're also saying, look, that these kinds of rulings then play into driver's licenses, and whether the driver's license of a California resident who's an illegal alien is valid in Texas. How does that play out now?
Did not tell y'all, and I didn't even watch this. Did not tell y'all they're going to cite that case. They're going to cite that case for the foolishness. If you look at most court cases are cites from other cases. So now we're talking about the right to vote, the right to work. So what you're basically saying is that a person can come here illegally and have the same rights as privileges as a person that was born here. That is insane. But you only agree with it because you believe that white folks don't want that to happen. You believe that white folks are going to be inconvenienced. That's the only reason this is tolerated, because you believe that white folks are going to be hindered by this. Even though illegal immigration affects the black community as far as employment, the studies have been done, it affects black men the most, folks still don't care. They don't care because they'd rather see white people suffer. Hence why I said, don't listen to them, because their goal is death, destruction, and damnation.
That is really the tension with the federalism system. You obviously have situations in many areas of the law where the states have like this patchwork of differing kinds of decisions. And the Supreme Court, I think, it's hard to tell when they're willing to nationalize something. They're clearly willing to do it in the election context here. But for something like this, I think they're going to keep punting to Congress, which, as you're kind of suggesting, means that nothing may happen.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.
I thought he did pretty good. What y'all think? I thought his show was pretty good. The way they covered it. It seemed pretty neutral. I had some more. Let me see this one right here. Let me see.
What about you guys? What you doing these days? Why don't you share about your passion in sports?
I'm playing AAU basketball right now.
Are you really? Are you guard?
Yes, sir.
Now, what grade are you in?
7th grade.
7th grade.
Right now I'm just doing basketball, playing guard on the JV team for my school.
How about in school? How y'all doing in school? You should tell the president about the school.
Favorite thing about it is the business academy I'm in. We get to like travel, so we've been to like NC State, Wyte Tech, and we went to this small dry cleaning business. And it's cool, it's a great experience.
I'm impressed. Is that a new program at school? Yes, sir, it is. It just started just a couple of years ago. So what got you interested in teaching? Administration? So I grew up in rural South Carolina. My grandfather was very influential in showing me and teaching me that it would be good for an African-American male to be a teacher. There's nothing different than breaking your arm and having a mental health problem. It takes real courage. Generally, I really am proud of you. It's really amazing.
Did he just say There's no different from breaking your arm and having a mental health problem. Did you just say that? Hold on.
From breaking your arm and having a mental health problem.
Sure.
There's nothing different from breaking your arm and having a mental health problem.
There's nothing different between breaking your arm and having a mental health problem. And honestly, this is what black folks deserve. They deserve this. Y'all deserve to be sitting in the kitchen eating fried chicken with Joe Biden. And him acting like he's impressed with y'all doing silly stuff, playing basketball, going to the little drop. He just entertaining y'all. Y'all so happy to have the president in y'all house so y'all can be the talk of the town. The country's going down in flames, and this family is getting celebrated for having Joe Biden in the house. That's how you know America's doomed. The fact that this family isn't ostracized tells us everything. You ate with Joe Biden, like it should have been they should have been ostracized and ridiculed. You ate with Joe Biden? This is crazy. Bald head, scallywag, ain't got no hair in the bag, jailed up, weaved up. Your hair is messed up.
Passed the fugitive slave law.
My bad. Jailed up, weaved up. Your hair is messed up.
Democrat open borders plan to entrench single-party rule.
Okay, so that was all my videos for that. I think I'm going to save. I may have one more. I'm going to save the rest for my next live. Yeah, I got a whole other folder I got to play. Yeah, I may save.
The migrant situation, that is on Congress. They don't release money, so then that doesn't protect the border. So that's the first thing. We are a sanctuary city. We started being a sanctuary city back in 1980, which of course should have been changed a long time ago. So they bring them in. You wonder where the money coming from? They taking it, the COVID fund that was here, that money. You talking about all the housing programs. So when people pay rent, all the rental programs, that money, all the programs that we have in the city of Chicago, they are bankrupting us. They are taking from all of these programs that we have, and they're taking the money and they're funding the migrants. Our taxpayers, we've already paid $32 million out of our taxes to house and take care of the migrants thus far. Now, we already know the only ones who qualify to become citizens in asylum here from the starts, if they were here after August, they don't even qualify. But here we're going to be taking care of them for 5 to 7 years while there's paperwork floating on people's desk. And why? Send them home. Send them back. But Venezuela already said, oh, we're not taking them back.
I got a question for you. Who did you vote for?
First of all, I have no problem with saying that I did vote for Biden because I was not voting.
Okay.
I did.
Okay,
But here it is.
Hold on.
Wait,
That was the question.
Okay.
Now you answered it, right?
Okay.
This migrant influx that we're dealing with right now, this is your fault.
Okay, well, let me say, hold on. First of all, let me say this. It is not my fault. It is Congress' fault who does not release the money.
Remember when I said that black people don't care about the truth? They want to be right. I said in the video last week, when have black people ever apologized for being wrong? This woman clearly is wrong. You're wrong. And instead of just saying, I shouldn't have voted for Joe Biden, I'll do better next time, I learned my lesson, she blaming Congress. Ma'am, you voted for a mayor in your city that said he would prioritize illegal immigrants or illegals or immigrants, whatever. Then you doubled down on that. No, first you voted for Joe Biden that said he wanted 11 plus million immigrants over here in the first place. Then you doubled down and voted for the mayor of Chicago. And he said, I'm going to prioritize immigrants in this city so much to where they're a sanctuary city. So that means that you voted for a mayor that didn't have any funds to take care of these quote unquote migrants. Let you tell it, since they dipping into everybody's funds and asking for the taxpayers' money. So you literally doubled down on immigrants being in this country. You voted for Biden. You voted for the guy. I forgot his name in Chicago. And in the moment of truth comes, and instead of you saying, my bad, you're right, you blame Congress. This is why you can't listen to black people. Because black people will vote for Joe Biden. They will vote for the mayor that's telling them it's going to be a sanctuary city. I want all the illegals. They'll do all that voting and then have the audacity to get in front of a microphone and complain about their decisions. Just to repeat it all over again in a couple of months. In November, she's going to vote for Joe Biden again. Guaranteed. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. Do not listen to them. One more video and I'm gone. I'll play the rest of these next.
Posted a video of me twerking. Yes, I twerk. I ain't got no ass, but it moved. I posted a video of me twerking and I put in the caption, she moves like she's ghetto. This dude literally was like, you're saying that your butt moves like she's ghetto, which implies that you move like you're black, which in turn means that you're saying black people are ghetto. He was like, what the fuck did you mean by that? Like, whole ass hating on me. Whole ass. And I was like, you do understand black people aren't ghetto, right? And he was like, oh, okay, you made a good point. You made a good point there. And I'm like, every single fucking race has a fucking ghetto, bitch. The simple fact that some black people will correlate an entire negative word with them and their culture, like, it says a lot about y'all, because I'm like, why the fuck would you think that me saying ghetto is automatically black?
Again, even though she's liberal, they don't care. They saw you twerking, they got upset. They saw you use the word ghetto, they got even more upset. So what black folks are saying is that we're communists. We don't want you to partake unless we say you can partake in this foolishness. It's that simple. This is why you can't listen to them. Now, she's a liberal. She's on their side. All that. She done probably put the black square on her Instagram, Black Lives Matter protest, all that. She liberal, she for all of it. And they turned on her. So again, can't listen to them. You know, y'all think I'm liberal because I love my husband. Look at you all just letting people jump the border at your expense. I am personally a sponsor for my husband. My whole life is devoted financially. Oh, is your husband from another country? I don't know. You must have said your husband was from another country, I guess. Listen, most women vote liberal, Democrat. So again, we've already discussed this. You know, most, women are going to go the liberal route. So we already know this. Thank you, Rena Bina, so much. She's going, you all. But hey, y'all, I wish I could hang out with you all tonight, but I have work early in the morning. I will catch up while driving tomorrow. Love y'all. Thank you so much. D, the Retan, Dear Tan. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Appreciate it. Mano 1135. Thank you so much for the super sticker. And Cruise Missile always supporting. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Listen, I love you all. Thank y'all so much. Tanya said, call them migrants. I don't like the word migrants because migrants makes it seem like it's innocent. Seeking us, like these are terms to make you think it's innocent. It's not innocent. It's an agenda behind it. So I can't call them migrants. I can call it the migrants that are also tyrants. I can't just say a migrant because it sounds too nice. So I don't know. It needs to be a word that sends shockwave through people's spine when you say it. Because all this migrants or people that are unhoused and all these terms are to soften people up. Somebody come upside your head with an axe and then you looking crazy. They're already making it plain. They want to get rid of white culture, white structure, white everything. You know that once that goes, it's not going to be good. I don't know what fairy tale folks are living in, but if white folks are not running this show, it's going to be chaos. If you don't believe me, just go to the countries where the white folks ain't running it. And you're going to see this notion that diverse is better is communism. This notion that more colors are better is communism. This notion that white is always bad is communism. We got sidewalks here in America. We got sidewalks with drains. And when it rains, we have a sewer system. We have power, electricity, paved roads. You go to Haiti right now, the roads ain't paved in Haiti. There is order and structure in America. Even though America seems chaotic, it's still order and structure. Most people obey the laws. Most people obey the traffic laws. It's order. Most folks do their job. It's order. That's right. Is it no documents, right? Yes, destroy Western civilization is the goal. So, and again, I'm not against people coming here legally. If that's what the country is set up on, you got to abide by it. So, but again, these people have a choice. They can come over here legally. They're choosing not to. I don't feel sorry for them. All we heard was children in cages, lies. Separated from families, lies. It's all lies and propaganda. And now my coworker won't talk to me, which I'm not even upset about. Good. But he won't talk to me because I reminded him that Trump wanted to build a wall. So guess what, people? You know we got to prepare. It's better to be prepared than not. I advise you all to get some form of protection, i.e. a gun, some bullets. I need to get some more stuff myself. Katie mentioned the bug out bag in case you got to get out of here. You know, maybe some EMP protective type stuff. I don't know, but I'm just throwing stuff out there because, again, this election is coming. And I'm telling y'all right now, I don't think we're going to have one. So they're going to pull out all the stops. They're going to pull out all of the stops. But listen, I love you all. Thank y'all so much. And I will see you all again Thursday. Thank y'all for these super stickers, and you have a good night. Yes, pray up and arm up. Yes, they're using coyotes. I remember one black girl tweeted, man, Trump thinks that they got the coyotes. Now, why would this black girl tweeted, now, why would animals, Trump is stupid. Why would animals help people cross the border? I said, my God. My goodness. Anyway, I love y'all, and I'll see y'all on Thursday. Thank you.